Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the 5th round, where we're going to be previewing UFC Rochester. Now, we have got an incredible main event in Rafael Dos Anjos coming up against Kevin Lee, who's moving up to welterweight. But before that, we've got two fights to preview first, and they are both in the women's division. We've got the women's bantamweight fight between Aspen Ladd and Sijara Eubanks, and Megan Anderson versus Felicia Spencer in the women's featherweight match. So it's kicking off. We've got Aspen Lad versus Sijara Eubanks. Now this is the main event of the prelims, and this is going to be closing out what I assume is going to be on ESPN for American viewers. Aspen Lad comes into the UFC with an undefeated streak of 7 wins and 0 losses, while Sijara Eubanks comes in at 5-2. Now both fighters have a 2-fight win streak in the UFC, but Eubanks' last loss came to Aspen Lad in the Invicta series. So the two have come up before, and Aspen Lad got the better, and I do believe she is going to get the better this weekend at UFC Rochester. I just think she's got the skills to slightly too better for Sijara Eubanks. Now Lad has a 2-inch advantage in height, but that is also stifled by Sijara Eubanks' 1 inch in range. But again, Lad has a longer leg reach than Sijara Eubanks does. Now, worryingly for Sijara Eubanks, Aspen Lad has won 71% of her fights via TKO or KO, so you're going to expect this fight to not reach the final bell, and most likely to be a KO or TKO victory for Aspen Lad. Now, for Eubanks, 60% of her wins have come via decision, while 40% have come via TKO, so she's never actually got a submission victory in her pro MMA career. Now, the 24-year-old does land more strikes at 6.6 compared to 4.4 for Aspen Lad in this fight, so she's going to be hitting Eubanks a lot more and throwing a lot more punches. That is. Now, 57% of those strikes are significant for Aspen Lad, while Sijara Eubanks only has 34% of her strikes as significant strikes. Now, worryingly, or flipping it on its head almost, Aspen Lad does in fact absorb more shots than Sijara Eubanks does, which is kind of worrying for her. But it means she has that grit and has the determined to get through the adversity of being hit a lot and being able to keep calm, keep her composure, and search for the victory. Eubanks also has a better defense at 68% compared to Aspen Lad's 37%. Now, when it comes to grappling, Sijara Eubanks does come out on top with 2.5 takedowns on average per 15. So you're going to be expecting at least 2 from Eubanks in this fight up against Aspen Lad, and I wouldn't be expecting many takedowns at all from Aspen Lad in this fight, to be honest. Now, very surprisingly, Aspen Lad has 100% accuracy and defense when it comes to takedowns, so she's not going to be taken down by Eubanks, hopefully, although this stat will most likely change. She's going to have at least 2 to defend, and if she can hold both of them off, then fair play to her. It means she's probably going to be in the driving seat for most of the fight, because she's won 70% of her fights via TKO or knockout. So if it stays to the feet and stays upright, then I very much anticipate Aspen Lad to win this fight, and that's who I'm backing in this fight as well. I think Aspen Lad's going to stay undefeated. I think Eubanks is going to have to handle her second loss to Aspen Lad, this time in the UFC, and I think the number 6 bantamweight could very much be in with a title shot 2 or 3 fights down the line. We've got, of course, Nunez versus Holm in July, and I think a win for Aspen Lad, who's at number 6, puts her within 2 fights of that title as well. Now, one certainty for this fight is that neither of them have a submission average. Both of them are on 0, so I would not be expecting any submissions in this fight. No taps. But looking at Lad's age as only 24, she's got a lot that she can build on in her arsenal. She's obviously a very good hitter, a very good striker, and that is reflected in her knockout and TKO ratio. And I think that's the way it's going to go. She's going to improve it, and I'd expect a round 1 or round 2 finish from Aspen Lad. Now, following on to that, we go up a division to the women's featherweight division at 145, where of course Nunez is the champion as well of that division. So she's the queen of both bantamweight and featherweights, and they're the 2 fights we're highlighting other than the main event, of course. Now, Megan Anderson comes into this after a controversial victory last time against Kat Zingano. Now, I thought it was a fair win, although I can see why it had its tainted sort of taste in the mouth. It was sort of sour in the way that she done it. It was a kick to the eye, where I believe that her toe cut the inside of Kat Zingano's eye and immediately stopped the fight. And this was within the first minute or two of that bout as well. So it's hard to tell what Megan Anderson brings now. I'm a big supporter of her. I think she's done very well. Her fight against Holly Holm was a good one. She fought very hard to make a debut against a bantamweight champion. And someone with Holly Holm's skill is absolutely phenomenal, and she did it so well at 145 as well. Although it might have been at 135, I'm not sure. I think it was a 145 fight. So yes, Megan Anderson is facing Felicia Spencer, who is currently 6-0. Now, there's not much information on her on the UFC website where I take a lot of my resources for this video, but she is 6-0. She's won 50% of them via submission, and all of them fights and all of them submission wins have come via a rear naked choke. Now, she specializes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that is clear to see with a ratio of 50% submission wins and all of them coming by rear naked choke. So I'd expect Spencer to take this to the floor, but I think Megan Anderson, she's got a height advantage of 6 inches. You know, she's a very, very tall and sort of lean woman, and she's going to have that height advantage, and it's going to be a difficult night for Spencer. But if she can get a takedown in, I'd imagine that Spencer will get the victory. But as I said, I'm backing Megan Anderson. I don't believe Megan Anderson's far from a title shot either. This featherweight division is a bit lost. There's not many people in there. There's not even a ranking system, but we have the champion in Nunez. Chris Cyborg looking to come back as well. So maybe Cyborg versus Anderson, although I'd heavily favour Cyborg in that fight. Again, Nunez is going to probably challenge and defend that title as well. But Spencer could very much upset the tie here, and should she get a victory, it would be welcomed in the featherweight division to have someone to say, right, we're here as well to join the party almost, and really build a division which is quite lackluster but has a lot of potential involved. So yes, if Megan Anderson gets a win here, you'd expect her to be targeting that Australia card should it happen probably early next year, I'd imagine, with the likes of Robert Whittaker, Adrian Adesanya's going for the title, of course. We've got the unification bout in the middleweight division, and of course Alex Volkanovski is tearing up the featherweight division. Should all of those three get title shots, well, Adesanya is guaranteed a title shot, but could Megan Anderson get a featherweight title shot in Australia, and potentially Alex Volkanovski too? You've got 3 title fights in Australia with Australian fighters and a New Zealander, or a Kiwi as they're known, and that will sell out like crazy, whether it's in Melbourne, Sydney, even if it's in New Zealand itself. But I'd imagine they put it in Australia, of course. You know, the biggest gate I believe in UFC history is Holm and Rousey, and that sold out in minutes, and I know Robert Whittaker and Gastelum sold out pretty quickly as well. Now, moving on to the main event, we've got Rafael Dos Anjos versus Kevin Lee. Now, Kevin Lee moves up from the lightweight division to the welterweight division, and it's going to be interesting how he does with an extra 15 pounds, maybe then 20 come fight night, but 15 pounds on weigh-in. And he's doing what Rafael Dos Anjos did a few years ago now. Now, RDA has a record of 28 wins and 11 losses, while Kevin Lee has 17 wins and 4. Now, Kevin Lee comes into this fight with a 2-inch height advantage and a staggering 7-inch reach advantage, and a slightly longer leg reach as well. So you'd expect Kevin Lee to take the pole position in this fight, to be able to dominate the distance with his longer arms, being able to get those strikes in. Rafael Dos Anjos is going to have to come in a lot closer, going to take a lot of damage potentially before he can get any strikes in, and of course probably look to take this to the ground, where Kevin Lee, by the looks of things, does also have a better ground game than Rafael Dos Anjos. Now, saying that 50% of RDA's wins have come via submission, so again I'd say his game plan would be to take this to the floor, nullify Lee's advantages in height and reach, and really get to working on the ground, maybe getting a submission in, and adding to his already quite impressive feat of 50% wins being via submission. However, saying that 47% of wins via Kevin However, for Kevin Lee, 47 win. However, saying that, Kevin Lee also has a very close 47% wins by submission and 41% via decision. So you could, both of these are going to be looking for submissions, you'd imagine, and this could be a very much a jiu-jitsu match that could last for the ages. Really, it's one of those fights. Kevin Lee, with an extra 15 pounds, he's going to have that power against him. But RDA has been in that division a little longer. He's become accustomed to the welterweight division, and it's going to be interesting how Kevin Lee makes his debut inside the 170-pound division. Now, Kevin Lee lands more strikes at 4.06 compared to 3.7 for RDA. So, as I said, he's going to have to use that reach advantage and land more strikes per minute. And you can really see RDA having to worry about the striking game of Kevin Lee in this fight tonight. And of course, I have to reiterate the extra power that's going to come with that extra weight that Kevin Lee withstands and withholds. And he's a hard hitter in the lightweight division, so you can imagine what he's going to be like at welterweight. Now, RDA absorbs more strikes than Kevin Lee at 3.37, which is also worrying, as you already consider the height advantage and the reach advantage that Kevin Lee brings into this fight. He's definitely going to have to weather a storm should he want to get the victory in this fight. And I'm going to have to back Kevin Lee in this fight with how the stats play up. But again, it's his debut at welterweight, and Kevin Lee could struggle with those extra few pounds. Now, Kevin Lee averages more takedowns at 3.31 compared to 1.96 for RDA, so you're going to be expecting 4 or 5 takedowns from Kevin Lee, and potentially 2, maybe 3. So you're going to be expecting double the output potentially from Kevin Lee should this fight last the full 25 minutes. Now, Kevin Lee also has a better accuracy at 43% and has a staggering 80% defense. Now, for someone who, RDA is going to be looking to get 2 or 3 takedowns in this fight with an 80% takedown, this will be very unlikely that he's going to take Kevin Lee down at all. Whereas you flip it on its head, Kevin Lee only has to deliver 2 or 3 before he's going to get that third or that fourth. It's going to be a successful one. And after that, he's got a vast majority of submission wins in his career. Now, saying that, this is both a very important fight for both fighters. Both have lost 2 of their last 3, with, of course, Kevin Lee losing to Iaquinta and Tony Ferguson, with an Edson Barboza win in the middle of those 2. Whereas RDA comes into this losing to now champion Kamaru Usman after the Ultimate Fighter series, and before that losing to Colby Covington, both in what was 5-round wars, which he was quite comfortably beaten. So he's gone 10 rounds in his last 2 fights, whereas Kevin Lee went the distance in his last fight as well. So both of them are very veteran in the 5-round industry and should be able to go for 25 minutes. Now, I'm backing Kevin Lee, whether it's by decision or submission, I'm not sure. I'd like to see this one go 5 rounds. I think it could be a good fight for both, and potentially fight of the night. I don't see another fight on the card that rivals it in terms of how close it is, but I'm backing Kevin Lee. I'm going to back Megan Anderson, and I'm going to back Aspen Lad this weekend. So, let me know in the comments what you think of UFC Rochester. Let me know in the comments what you think of UFC Rochester. Who are you backing, Kevin Lee or Rafael Dos Anjos? Click the I above to vote now, and also subscribe to Cage Chat. Don't forget to follow Cage Chat YT on all the socials, and I'll see you on Cage Chat on Monday.